In this video, I'm going to be covering why most ecom brand owners are broke and why they stay broke. Now, listen, my name's Dante, and I currently run an 8-figure ecom brand, and I had to learn this the hard way. And I got a lot of questions from my clients around this: how to pay yourself, should you build for an exit, how to reinvest into the business while also setting yourself up financially, personally, outside of the business and in the business, so you have a safety net and you don't spend years of your brand just to be broke. Like a lot of people do, like a lot of these gurus you see online actually are. And so I learned this the hard way myself, and so I'm making this video so you don't have to. So with that being said, let's get into it. So first, the exit myth, right? So first things first, most brands will simply never exit. And this is the reality for most brands. So sacrificing profits to grow and scale in hopes to exit is simply a losing strategy, right? You are risking years of your time and hundreds of thousands of dollars in hopes for something that a very small percentage of brand owners get, right? And lots of times, sadly, this leaves brand owners after years of hard work and oftentimes millions in revenue with next to nothing. Now, luckily, I learned this mistake very early on in my drop shipping and then ecom actual brand owning inventory days, right? When I was drop shipping previously, I'd push ad spend, thinking I was reinvesting for growth and I'll profit later, and then I'd get scaled up and then I'd have nothing left. And then when I started my current brand that does over 8 figures a year, I already learned this lesson the hard way, right? And then the main thing to remember here is this happens all too well, right? Because there's so many outside factors that could cause your brand to fail, sales to drop, profits to lessen, etc. There's so many things outside of our control that could ruin the business, or at least make you profit a lot less, like the tariffs, or someone new gets elected, the whole economy, Facebook ad account ban, Facebook profile ban. All these things could leave your business with less profit, less revenue. And the thing is, what you don't want to do is be one of the people who spent years and thousands of dollars growing their brand with time and effort to be left with nothing left over. Because once again, it's a very small percentage of brand owners that actually end up getting the big exit, right? Very, very small percentage. And so it's a losing strategy to reinvest in the business in hopes for an exit that there's a big chance won't come. You should be setting yourself up along the way, being able to profit along the way, make a lot of money. And then if you get the exit, that's just a nice big bonus, okay? Now, I'm saying this, but it's not all doom and gloom. I'm not making this video to scare you, and it's not about that. Because I believe, and it's true, if you pivot when needed, right, you solve the problems that come up along the way, you don't give up, you continue testing, you continue doing the inputs that are needed to scale, you will continue to grow despite some years or months being worse than others, which is inevitable. That stuff happens, right? But it's important to understand the risks associated with this game and understand that the goal is to play the long game. And you're only able to play the long game if personally, financially, you have security and you're set up, right? This way, if your brand goes to shit, you have the money and income from investments that you put aside, or at least a safety fund you put aside to then bring to your next brand, right? If you don't get the big exit, which I hope you do, I hope everybody does, but realistically, it's simply not going to happen. And you should be able to get very rich while profiting along the way, even if that exit doesn't happen, right? And so like I was saying, to play the long game, you need to set yourself up personally, which we'll get into how to do, so stick around for the rest of the video. Now, next is reinvesting for growth. And a lot of people say they reinvest for growth, right? So first, people will push ads and expenses to grow, right? Profit next to nothing, but then back it up with the excuse that they're reinvesting into the business. And reinvesting into the business is good. Having no profit or cash flow isn't. Once again, on my old stores that I used to run, I used to do this a ton because I just want the bigger revenue number, growth. And you forget that profit is the actual goal. And I was putting in, 8, 10, 12-hour days consistently for months and months and months. And then at the end of it, even though I'd show hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales, I could show nothing for it. I had nothing left over, right? And so don't make the mistake I did. And one thing, luckily I learned this years and years ago before starting my new brand, that I could actually profit along the way and reinvest into the business, okay? So most people say they're reinvesting when in reality, they just run an inefficient business that can't afford more expenses and to pay them out a profit, okay? So ask yourself and be honest. Are you reinvesting, or are you simply just not profitable, and are there inefficiencies you need to fix? If you're not able to pay yourself out a good salary and take out percentages of profit every quarter, plus have the funds to buy inventory, reinvest, hire, etc., there's inefficiencies in your business that you need to address and fix, okay? So you are able to reinvest into the business, run more efficiently, grow faster, and do it all while taking out a salary and bonuses to set yourself up financially. And this actually forces you to run your business more efficiently, which will lead to more cash flow, free cash flow that is, which will allow you to then actually reinvest more profit than you were previously to grow your business and end up growing faster because of it. Okay, so let's get into that. So 2.0, profiting along the way. So first, pay yourself a salary plus quarterly bonuses, right? So by paying yourself a salary, what you do is you give yourself security without sacrificing your growth. You should pay yourself a salary equivalent to what it would cost you to hire that role for, right? So for example, if you do mostly marketing, what does a brand your size pay a CMO, right? You should be making that amount of money. And once again, if you can't afford that, there's inefficiency somewhere. Now, part of this payout or salary that you would set yourself should come from the form of a set salary, right? Bi-weekly, monthly, whatever it may be. The rest will then come from quarterly bonuses based on performance, which is how much you actually profited that corner. Because as a major shareholder or the shareholder in the business, right, you should be paid out and rewarded for how well you perform or how well the business grew in profits, okay? But you should still have that set salary to have that security, and that way you have some sort of, even if it's just a little, that way you have some sort of income coming in where you're able to plan out yourself financially, put money away to donate, put money away to invest, put money aside for safety fund, your living expenses for fun, whatever it may be. Even if it's a small amount, that gives you a lot more security personally that will allow you to take bigger risks in the business and not be worried about, okay, if shit goes good or bad, okay? So like I was saying, having a set salary, even if small, gives you security to be able to plan your own personal finances without your income massively changing month to month. Because I know there's a lot of you watching this right now that either don't pay yourself for months at a time, or you just pay yourself here and then you'll just not for a bit because you want to reinvest and you'll pay yourself here the next month, and there's no consistency. And sooner or later, that's going to lead to you, one, being unmotivated, you're going to be years of effort and see no reward for your hard work, but two, there's no security, okay, which is very, very important as well. And so have that set salary. Then you make the rest and bulk of your income off of quarterly bonuses, right? This way, as the business grows, your income grows exponentially and you can afford a higher salary as is, but then you're still getting paid for the actual work you're doing inside the business. So look at where you spend your time. Where do you put 80% towards your time in the business? Now, most cases, most of you watching is probably in marketing. So that would be a CMO or whatever it may be. Now, whether you're doing 50,000 a month or you're doing $1 million a month, obviously a CMO at that level of the business would cost drastic different amounts, right? Point is, even if it's a small salary, you should pay it and make money along the way. You don't have to sacrifice growth for actually making money, okay? Personally. Now, the other benefit of this is if you did end up exiting or wanting to exit, the buyer would want to see that your business can afford to pay out the shareholders and or at the very least be able to afford to make the hire to take over your current role, right? You'll get a better multiple because who would want to buy your business anyways if it can't afford to, one, at least pay for the hire to take over the role you're currently doing, or else whoever's buying has to come in and do the work themselves, and / or who can't afford to actually take out bonuses for the shareholders or the owner of the business being you, right? Who would want to take that business over? Whether you're doing 10 million a year, 5 million or 1 million a year, it doesn't really matter. Point is, if you're running a business and you can't get any reward from it personally, who wants to buy that business? Nobody. They're going to want to see that at the very least you can take out bonuses and you can afford to do that. And two, when you do it, your business doesn't go crashing down because you run it efficiently enough where you're able to reinvest into growth and hiring people, but also reward yourself, whoever owns the business, for the hard work. Okay? Once again, if you can't afford to do this and grow, you are running to it inefficiently. Then, as your business grows and you make more profit every quarter, you can increase your salary according to the market rate, plus your bonuses get bigger and bigger and bigger. So your salary and bonuses will exponentially increase over time as your business grows. But either way, it starts small. Even at small, you should be paying yourself. If it's a couple hundred a month, couple thousand a month, doesn't really matter. You should be able to do both. If not, you're running something inefficient somewhere. Now, point is when you do this, you not only make money to set yourself up personally, but it forces you to actually run your business more efficiently, which will lead to more free cash flow, which will lead to growth, right? By having to pay yourself out of salary and bonus every quarter, once again, even if small, you're forced to figure out how to become more profitable to afford this, plus have the profit left over to reinvest into growth, stock, hiring, agencies, etc., whatever it may be, content, etc., right? In other words, you get forced into remembering profit is the goal, right? Profit is the lifeblood of the business. And if you're running on slim margins or really pushing yourself because you're reinvesting to more ad spend, pushing Facebook to try to scale, when things go wrong, they're going to go wrong badly. You're not going to have a lot of efficiency or free cash flow to float that, or at least stay alive, right? And you don't want that. You want to run efficiently. And in other words, once again, you get forced to remembering profit is the goal. Now, sadly, most brand owners get caught up in growth being the only thing that matters and don't reward their top employee, which is you. Once again, because of this, sooner or later, you'll feel burnt that you put in all this work, have nothing to show for it, or worst case, the brand sales slows down, you scale down, and now you have no sales, and personally, you have nothing going for you. and you're back to square one with no safety fund to reinvest. You have to go move back with your parents or whatever it is. Point is, you don't want that to be you. And sadly, that happens so much. I could count off the top of my head like 10 different influencers or gurus that I know are struggling with big loans, don't actually make money personally, and they're just keeping up this lifestyle afloat by like just a thin hair, right? Or that they're doing 10 million a year, 5 million or 6 million, whatever it may be, and really are not profiting that much, right? And they can't exit anyways because no one wants to buy their inefficient business. So point is, you're able to do both, and by paying yourself out, one, yourself personally set up way better, and then two, you'll be forced to run a more efficient, profitable business, which will then in return actually end up growing your business a lot further. You don't have to sacrifice one for the other. If you are, take a look because something's wrong somewhere. Okay? So with that being said, if you're sick of watered down beginner repackaged content, which is what's all across YouTube, and sadly what I learned from, which took me a long time to kind of unlearn a lot of this stuff to get to the point that I'm at, which is why I started making these more high level videos. And you want more high level lessons like this, plus consulting directly from me and other 8-figure brand owners, then click the link in the description. We only work with brands doing over $1 million a year to give them information and lessons like this in a lot more detail, and the Q&A and asking me directly because simply they need it and our results can speak for themselves. Point is, if that's you and you're interested, click the link. If not, it doesn't matter. Point is, I hope you use this, and whether you're at small scale, whether you're at 50K a year, 50K a month, $1 million a month, it doesn't matter. Please pay yourself something, profit along the way. Don't get the short end of the stick by spending years and thousands of dollars scaling up to be left with nothing and going back to square one, because it can happen, and it happens a lot of the time. Okay? So that being said, I'll see you in the next one.